And Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about one more area of this budget. I know that it's getting late, sir, and I want to talk about one other area. And this is right around the same issue that I talked about on the coal money. Now, the gentleman just said that money had been put in this budget at about $31 million each year of the biennium for something called performance-based funding. And he said it was going to total out to be about a 2% cut. Well, let me tell you something. It depends on who you are and where your university is of what amount that cut's going to be and what that cut totals to be. Now, I sat in a room with those who have come up with this performance-based funding in the 2016-15 time when we talked about performance-based funding, and then in the 16 budget, I sat in an office for a long, long time with some in the Senate who kind of came up with this deal of what we ought to do with this new way of doing higher education. Well, folks, let me tell you something. There happens to be a little school called Morehead State University. And regardless of what the chairman of the Senate A&R committee said, all presidents did not agree with the formula of performance-based funding. Performance-based funding is basically gauged on being able to increase your degree programs on how many people you graduate in the years as you move forward. Well, I can tell you these schools like Eastern and Morehead and Mary State University and maybe some others who over time are going to have trouble and going to have problems of being able to keep those degree programs on an upward scale. They're going to lose in this, and the revenues that they've had in their base funding is going to make those universities struggle. There has not been a state in the United States that has tried to implement performance-based funding without a big increase in the revenues going into higher education. And here we are with a cut. This budget that left this House restored that 6.25%. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do when we have seen budget cuts over the last several years to restore that 6.25, and we did that in this House budget. This budget leaves the 6.25 in, and I'm going to tell you, the universities that get hurt, right off the bat. This $31 million that's in this budget right now, I'm going to tell you what Kentucky State University gets, and I'm going to tell you what Morehead State University gets out of this $31 million. Zero. Zero. And we're talking about a university. Yeah, it sits in my district, but let me tell you, it is the University of the Mountains. This is the university that is in place, and I'll tell you again, it is the university that created the middle class in Eastern Kentucky, without question. And we are putting this university along with others. Eastern Kentucky University that serves that region will suffer under this performance-based funding with a 6.25% cut. Mary State University that was put in place about the same time as Morehead State University, I'm telling you right now, these universities are going to suffer and they're going to struggle. And I would tell you that this is a complicated formula that has been tried in other states, and it may be working. And yeah, do you think my university is afraid of competition? No. We have the brightest students, the greatest students. They're smart. But man, they got to have hope and opportunity. And when you see our region, a region of Kentucky depopulating, people are having to leave because they don't have a job, and they're coming to the Golden Triangle to find a job. Is that what we want in this chamber? Do we want everybody to go to school in the Golden Triangle? I think not. I think we want these universities to perform and be what they need to be. These universities are the building block. They create the type of folks, whether it be in the community technical college or at a comprehensive or at UK or U of L, they create who we are as far as a workforce and being a competitive community across Kentucky. This performance-based funding is dangerous. It is a dangerous deal. And I'm going to tell you, we are picking again winners and losers. I'm going to close on this. When I was able to be a part of this debate when it first started, I said, if we're going to do something, let's take 5% first and 10%. But I said, let's not put everybody's money in the same pool. Let's take every university out there and let's put their own money in their own bank account. And then as they earn whatever this is going to be as far as more degrees in the future, then they can earn their money back into their base. If they don't, it stays in that same bank account until that university does what it needs to do to be able to get that money back. In this formula right now, all money goes in. Comprehensive universities were never set up to compete with UK and U of L. Comprehensives were put there for a special job and a special need. I would tell you to be careful about this. This is something that hadn't been talked a lot about. University presidents, yeah, it's great, but I'm going to tell you something. Those that will tell you that the university presidents agreed with this, I would tell you that they had their arm put right square up between their shoulder blades and signed a letter and send it over here that you're for it. There's a president at Morehead State University that ain't there no more. I'm going to tell you why he ain't there no more. He didn't care to sit on the front line and challenge people when he thought they were wrong. He's a guy that was over in Vietnam being shot at as a young man, and when he came back, there wasn't no intimidating him, and he stood up and said, this is bad for my university, and this is bad for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.